Hello everyone, welcome to another video about Gypsy Jazz Guitar. Even though this is not a Gypsy Jazz Guitar, this is a peerless art stop. I like it, I love it. And the reason I use it for these videos is actually because this guitar has very clear fret markers, and my Gypsy Jazz guitars do not have the clear fret markers, so it's easy to get lost on the neck if you watch it on a video. And also, it's connected to a looper, and I just played some backing track there, which I can use while demonstrating some concepts, but it needs to be connected to an amp for that. And the first thing I want to say is, because I always forget it, that if you watch this video on YouTube and you like the videos on this channel, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, that really helps me out. And if you watch this video on Facebook, then go to my YouTube channel. This video will be on the YouTube channel as well, and subscribe there and you'll be kept up to date on all the new videos. So this video is kind of to promote, introduce the workshops I will host at Christian van Hemert's Gypsy Jazz Summit in Los Angeles in February. It's a summit hosted or organized by Tommy Davey of DjangoGuitars.com, and there will be 4 guitar workshops and 2 violin workshops on rhythm, improvisation, guitar improvisation, practicing, violin improvisation, violin technique, right-hand guitar technique, many things. So I made a video like 3 weeks ago about minor 6 arpeggios, and I was discussing 2 different fingerings for it, which I called the French way and the Dutch way. And of course, I got some questions from people like, what do you mean? Do only Dutch people play it the Dutch way and the French people? No, of course not. It's just 2 names I gave the arpeggios, also to distinguish them, but also because I tend to see those fingerings played by different people. And the Dutch fingering is mostly played by Dutch Sinti guitar players, and the French fingering is not necessarily played by all French players, but that the whole system of playing 2-string arpeggios, which you can then play on the next set of 2 strings and then one more time, so 3 times on 6 strings, is something that I really see a lot in French players like Sébastien Gignot and Adrien Mognard. Those players. And I will not go over those fingers again because you can watch the other video, but I want to show you some ideas of using those minor 6 arpeggios in a improvisation situation. And I've chosen a 2-5 in C. So D minor, D minor 7 or D minor 9, G7, every G7 you want, to C. 1 bar D minor, 1 bar G7, 1 bar C major 7 or C6. So on D minor, I'm just gonna play a standard phrase that is played a lot by jazz guitar players and gypsy jazz guitar players, which goes like this, which is an F major 7 arpeggio starting on the E. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will also use this one, which is also starts with the F major 7. But then I play kind of scale. So, but we will get to that when we play the licks. The most important thing is what we're gonna play on the G7. On the G7, we're gonna play 3 different minor 6 arpeggios, and we're gonna start with the one that sounds most inside, most normal, to the one that sounds most, well, not outside, but most modern, or with the most tensions. And the first minor 6 arpeggio we'll use is a D minor 6 arpeggio. So on the G7, I'm going to use a D minor 6 arpeggio. And if you want to find that arpeggio, we have to just look for the third on the high E string, and that's an F. And let's start with the French fingering, so that would go like this. I'm just going to play 2 octaves so that it fits over 1 bar. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have to go to a C chord, so we have to find a note which is in the C chord. So in this case, closest to this A would be a G. So D minor, we play the F major 7 arpeggio. On G7, we'll play the D minor 6. Resolve. Let's start it with a backing. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Works great. Now we can play this arpeggio starting with a triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4, triplet, and then 8th note. So we can go one note more, and then we can resolve it to the E on C. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's start out with the backing. So that was the French style fingering. Now let's look at the Dutch style fingering. We start on the same note, but we play this one. So we can go to the G again. It's the same notes, but it's a different fingering. Or here. Let's do that. Or we can start with the triplet to the E. Okay, let's play both ways. First with only 8 notes. Or let's go to this G. Now with the triplets. One more time. It's pretty hard to play the triplet if you start with a downstroke because you have to play 2 downs in a row, but you can play the triplet later in the lick. At the end, for instance. That's easy with the Dutch fingering. Let's try that. Of course, those rhythms are free. You could shift this, start earlier, start later, play the triplets somewhere else, make different resolutions. It's just about showing you what it sounds like if you play a D minor 6 on a G7. What you're doing, in fact, is you add a 9 to the sound of the chord, because in the D minor 6, there's an A, so that's a 9 on G7. But of course, when I'm doing this, I'm not thinking that. I'm not thinking a 9, I'm thinking D minor 6. And I know that sounds great on G7. Now let's go to another possibility. The next possibility would be to play a F minor 6 arpeggio. And if you would do that, then you would play a flat 9, which is the A flat. And you play a C, which makes the G7 kind of a sus chord. So you get a sus flat 9 sound. But most people would just think of it as playing 4 minor. So if C is 1, then F is 4, and then 4 minor is F minor. Playing 4 minor on the dominant, on the 5 chord, which is a thing that Django did a lot, and also many other people. Stochelo does this a lot. Of course, we don't care about that. We just care about playing F minor 6 arpeggio. So we have to find the A flat, which is there. If we play with the triplet at the end, we can resolve to the G on C, and if we play eighth notes, probably we will resolve to the major 7. Right, but we come from here. We have to jump. You can slide, or you can pick it. Okay, let's first play it resolving to the major 7, to the B on C, and then we'll play it with the triplet at the end, resolving to the G, and maybe I'll do a slide or I'll pick it. Let's try some different ways. That was with triplets. Works great. Now for the French fingering, obviously we cannot play it here because there's no more neck, so we have to play it here. But then we could do it like this. We could jump, but we could also play this phrase on D minor. Again, resolving to, because it's the same notes, right? It's the same notes, but an octave higher in this case. So we could resolve to the major 7, or we could resolve, if we play a triplet, to the G. And we could play the triplet in the beginning, or the second one. It's easy in the French fingering to play the triplets in either place. So let's say we play it on the high part, or the lower part. Okay, let's try a couple of different ways of playing it, and also I will do it with the lower D minor lick. Make the jump, which is nice too. Works great. Now the last one, the last minor 6 arpeggio we'll use on G7 is an A flat minor 6. And in that case we're adding a flat 9, which is the A flat itself, to the G, which was also in the F minor 6 arpeggio of course. And we're adding an E flat, which is the flat 13. And then we're playing flat 9, flat 13 on G7, which what some people would call altered or super locrian, but we're just thinking A flat minor 6. And that's very convenient, but because if we play the first phrase on D minor, then A flat minor is just there, because we're looking for the third, which is the C flat or B. And if we play 8 notes, we can resolve to the thirds, and if we play a triplet, we could resolve to the low 6, or the 6 of a C, which is an A. 8 notes, triplets, now. Wow. It's kind of weird, right? Let's see. Or we could go to the root, which is kind of lame. So maybe in this case I would not play the triplets, but just play the 8 notes. Or maybe you could play quarter triplets. Let's try it. Yeah. But for now, let's just play the 8 notes. Okay, let's try it with the backing. So that was the Dutch fingering, which is very convenient. And if we would have to do it with the French fingering, let me see. That may make no sense, because that will be the same notes as the Dutch, but more complicated. And if we do it high, well, we could do that. Let's try it. I've never done that actually. I usually use the Dutch fingering. So here's 3 ways of using a minor 6 arpeggio on a G7. The first option was D minor 6. Then we played F minor 6. And then we played A flat minor 6. So D, F, A flat. So now your job is, of course, to play this on every dominant chord or every 2-5-1 in the circle fifths. So if I would practice it, I would record myself playing a backing D minor, G7, C. Then I would do G minor, C7, F, because I would go the circle fifths. And then I would go, is it correct? Yeah, then I would go to B flat, so C minor, B flat. Or what you could do, maybe it's easier to play D minor, C7, G7, C, and play C minor. So you go a whole steps down. Or any other way you want to practice it. But you have to just train your fingers to play all those arpeggios automatically, because you can't be thinking about it too much when you're playing a song. And of course, this is just the first step towards using these minor 6 arpeggios, because you could use the minor 6 arpeggios in many different ways. You could embellish them, or play the minor 6 arpeggios in different ways, or play them going up. For instance, if we would play, instead of going, if we would play, and then we're going to the, so now I would play F minor 6 up. Let's go. Let's see. Let's sing how it sounds on the backing track. Sounds great. That was the F minor 6 arpeggio going up. But you could practice that. You could find different ways of doing it, playing only in one octave, use different rhythms, use quarter triplets. Anyway, it's your job to find those things, experiment with them, have fun with it. But here's 3 ways of using minor 6 arpeggios on a dominant chord. See you next time, and hopefully see you in Los Angeles in February. Bye.